Iceland, Greenland. Did I hear it? Okay. The best place to be for Sharad Purnima celebration is in Vrindavan. Specifically in Banke Bihari Lal's temple, which is about 4 times or 5 times bigger than this hall. What will amaze you is the entire temple, all the walls, all the ceiling, all the roof, everything is decked with amazing floral decoration, like not an inch of wall can be seen. When I'm talking of the Indian flowers where you can actually smell them. पता है, rose also has a smell. 20 साल में मैं भूल गया कि rose का भी smell होता है. And there are multi different colored, different varieties of flowers. And then there is Banke Bihari Lal, and then there is the entire Vrindavan comes there, dances in front of Banke Bihari, because today is the day when Ras Leela had happened long time. They have this Ras Leela Garba all night long. And I'm not talking about these doli, when dol baje kind of songs. I'm talking of traditional songs, Garba and Ras songs. It's an amazing experience. So next time if you are ever there in this particular time frame, don't miss your appointment with Banke Bihari. Maja aata hai. And there is no dearth of food. You get out, the streets are overflowing with amazing food. Of course, fresh ones. So you'll enjoy it there. Let us open up our Bhajagovindam, and we had seen the second shloka last time. So please repeat after me. The third shloka. ये क्या है ना कि मेरा anything with raga goes upside down. So let me remember the raga. Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam. Govindam bhajamudhamate samprapte sannihite kale nahi nahi rakshati dukrankarane. Now the third one. Nari stanabhara nabhidesham दृष्ट्वा मागा मोहावेशम् एतन्मांसवसाधिविकारम् मनसि विचिन्तय वारं वारम्. We stand as a family. Together we chanted well. Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam, Govindam bhajamudamate samprapte sannihite kale nahi nahi rakshati dukrankarane. Caught up in the wrong priorities, we lose the existing opportunity for trivialities instead of focusing on that which is important. The exact same thing what we tell our children, Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji is telling us, the adults. Keep your head straight. Keep your priorities clear and focus on those priorities. If we get caught up in wrong priorities, before we realize, the golden opportunity, golden moment, the entire life could have been wasted. Now, where are these wrong priorities that we indulge in, that we get caught up in, that our head space gets so foggy that the main priority we forget? So, in the second shloka we saw, wealth is something that the Shastras have never said, don't create wealth. Don't procure wealth is not the message. Whatever is procured, create it in the most righteous, honest manner. And if you remember, I had given the 5x, 1/5 of the wealth, how it should be spent once it is procured in the honest manner. And then with what is left, what should one do? Vittam tena vinodaya chittam. Enjoy the moments of life, knowing very well that they are temporary. There is nothing wrong in basking in those moments of joy. But to hold on to, cling on to, thinking that that joy should continue and continuously persist, that would be a wrong pursuit. Vittam tena vinodaya chittam. Entertain and enjoy the moment. Because most of the times we are busy running that we don't enjoy these moments. From the early morning cup of coffee till the moment that we lie down on the soft pillow, warm quilt, and then sleep snuggled, every moment is enjoyable. But then the upper space is filled with fear of missing out, because the sense of security is out there somewhere. Until I get that space is not filled, that I miss, because it is so clouded that I miss these moments that I can cherish. So one of the experiments, or one of the things that we can do is, so supposing we talk of yesterday. How was your day? What was your day like? You have all details. There were awesome moments, there were 5 awesome moments, there were about 8 to 10 kind of a moments. They were okay. Neither good or bad, it was fine. There were 3 to 4 moments where it was really turbulent, it was not that great. We can give all details. Supposing I ask of the crux of last week, what stands out? Supposing I ask you of the last month, what stands out? The entire month, maybe 2, maybe 3 experiences that stand out. Supposing I ask of last year, the whole years it will be 1 or 2 events. So when you look back, what those moments are can be defined by us, provided how we have lived it. If we are available to live it. By cherishing these moments, enjoying those moments. Like how when a father or a parent of a young toddler tries to complain saying, oh, the baby doesn't sleep, the baby it is so disturbing, it is so, all the wise parents who have gone through that particular phase long time ago, what is your message to such a parent? Beta, that lack of sleep is nothing. In fact, those are the moments that you cherish, that you will miss. Wait till they start walking and talking. They will walk, but they'll talk in a different direction, walk in a different direction, and wait till they become teenagers. And then tumhara hoga. At this point in that age, you have to cherish, you have to enjoy. Same attitude Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji, having reached to the highest contentment, is saying, it's not that it is, it is unnecessary. It is an integral part, but do it righteously. You know how there were time when there would be those jokes. How much does your son-in-law earn? Table ke upar ki table ke niche? Have you heard such jokes? That he earns Rama and Krishna also. Rama is the white and Krishna is the black. Samajh rahe? Vitta has to be very focused, integrated effort with honesty, righteously earned and righteously spent. Enjoy those moments. And Puja Guruji used to say, the best way to be happy is to make sure that everybody around you are happy. The flip side, if everybody is complaining and nagging, can you be at peace? Can you be happy? And he says everybody, I'm not talking about pleasing the entire world. Your world is your family, your world is your immediate, those 5 to 8 people. If they are not happy, you can never be happy. Isn't it? Supposing the spouse is irritated constantly with you, can you be happy? There is nowhere close to happiness. If one of them is constantly nagging, can you be happy? Whoever that one of them is. If children are that way constantly, you can never be. So provide that. Vitta provides that. Well, how much is sufficient? 5x formula. It gives a certain clarity. Because it's an abstract concept, so it gives a certain clarity into that abstractness. Now the next priority that we indulge is right from the age of, when we hit the age of puberty and the volcano of chemistry bursts, chemical industry inside bursts, all the hormones. Teenage is usually that age. And since then it begins. Up until that age, you as a parent would have to tell that kid, kangi kar le, comb your hair, to wear decent clothes. Now, what is this? Then comes a flip, wherein you have to tell them at that age, stop. कितना बाल संवारता रहेगा? There is that self-conscious. And from that age starts. There is a whole coming of age wherein you recognize and be comfortable where you are, and then you recognize and be comfortable where the other equations of your relationships. Then that one concept of being in close proximity and touch and good books is so overwhelmingly consuming that nothing else matters. Where do we get engaged in? In kama. Kama, the physical pleasure. What becomes interesting, what becomes important, what becomes attractive, what becomes. So Gurudev, in explaining this particular shloka, he says that all beauty is only skin deep, and the ugliness and the naked reality of it is bone marrow deep. In his own hilarious way, he would describe, saying, "Kya sundar naak hai, what beautiful nose." And then he would go in the same breath saying, "Kabhi utha ke dekha hai?" When it is all covered and hidden is when we see the beauty, but inside, what is it? So he would calculate, like, in a very anatomical sense, he'll calculate this many meters of skin, these many kilos of muscle, these many charkhas, these many charkhas of nerves, these many buckets of blood, another few buckets of fecal matter, urine and fecal matter, and then a framework of bones. Especially so in this particular environment wherein the binary is confused with a spectrum. So people ask, "Swamiji, what does Hinduism say about the gender identity?" Hey Baba, your body is just a mere tool. Sharira madhyam khalu dharma sadhanam. It is a tool for what? To do your dharma sadhana. To be identified of a certain thing, and then the feeling of that identity, and then it to be respected, and the whole life spent on. That is not the focal point, that is not the purpose. What is the purpose of this body? The body's purpose is to take us to that highest goal that only in human birth it can be achieved. What is in human birth? What is the purpose of human birth? We have 4 purusharthas. What are the 4 purusharthas? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Dharma is to have a balance between the understanding of responsibilities and rights, yours as well as for the environment, and to live accordingly every walk of your life. Dharma. While you fulfill your Artha and Kama. Artha, the security of wealth. Kama, the progeny for the next generation. At least in Hinduism, the purpose of marriage is for the progeny of the next generation. The genetic pool of the parent to expand into the next generation, to be more specific. In Sanskritam, it would have been said, Gotra Vyapti, the Gotra to grow. Kama. Once these distractions are taken care of, then to moksha. Moksha is the 4th purushartha. What does the scriptures talk about it. In Bhagavad Gita itself he says, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yadatam api siddhanam kaschin mam vetti tattvataha. Manushyanam sahasreshu, of the millions and billions that we are, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye. Very few who think of the very purpose of human life. Of those who focus on that, very few attain to it, tattvataha, in essence. In Adi Shankaracharyaji's Vivek Chudamani, he gives further elaboration. He says, Durlabham trayame vaitat. In this human life, there are these following things. They are supposed to be the rarest of the rare, and if you have these three, consider yourself to be profusely blessed. For a jiva to have these three is the greatest blessing. What are they? Manushyatvam. Are we there? Being a human being. Manushya hona, Manushyatvam. Yeah, there is so much of confusion. There is a Hindutvam and Hindu. It's a confusion. Hindutvam is the essence of being a Hindu. What ruckus are you creating about it? Really, Manushyatvam is the essence of being a human being. What is the essence of human being? To be able to serve others and to not be the source of pain or sorrow to others consciously. This is being a human being. Manushyatvam. Mumukshutvam. Mumukshutvam, an intense desire to liberate from all limitations. And Mahapurusha Samshrayaha, a great individual who can develop a rapport with us and uplift us from our limitations to beyond limitations. Guru. Mahapurusha Samshrayaha. That individual who has these three factors, that jiva who has these three factors, is a blessed individual. Why is that so? Because being born in a human being itself is a rarity. Though our numbers may be quite alarmingly saying a different picture. How many of us are there now? 7.4, 7.3 billion. Of which our variety is 1/5 at least, or 2/3, or 1/3. 1/4? 1/5? It's fair enough, right? 1/5. So we are 1.4 with a population of American population plus or minus. Plus or minus few million here and there. 1.4 से लेकर 1.3 से लेकर 1.5 तक. You're talking about 0.2 in billion. That is the human population that we are. It might sound contradicting to say it is the rarest thing. The rarest thing from what perspective? Not from the count. From the perspective of the journey of the individual called Jiva. I'll keep an eye. From the perspective of the individual Jiva and the travel that they do, having the opportunity to be born as a human being is one of the rarest things. Why? So, a couple of examples that can be taken. Have you heard the story of Raja Jada Bharata? Raja Bharata, who then becomes Jada Bharata. So, there was this king whose name is Raja Bharata. His Vamshaja that we are, his lineage that has after him is what we are called Bharatiya, Bharat. So he had several sons. A peak of his accomplishments of being a king, after having established a Samrajya, an empire. At the peak, he called his children, he called his wife, and said, I want to take to the path of renunciation. First he asked the permission of the wives, and the wife said, we will miss you, but here you go. The children, he gave all the responsibilities, divided, and then left to a unknown destination which he did not reveal to his own family. And a little bit up and down happening, Papa, they'll come running. He didn't want that. He said complete disconnect, and he left. He did not disclose it to anyone. Imagine how much of vairagya that is required, dispassion that is required, that at the peak of your career, the peak of your life, where everything is going, you see that it is settled in a direction, and to have the ability to say enough and then to walk away from it. He had that dispassion. That point has to be recognized to understand the next part of the story. He built himself one thatched roof somewhere on the banks of Gangaji in a very remote corner. And one day when he was doing his morning sandhya, so the arghya that he has to leave, as he was doing it, he saw on the other side of the bank that there was a deer that was drinking water and it was carrying. Suddenly a tiger attacks. In that fear of being attacked by a tiger, this deer gives birth to that baby in the waters. And Gangaji, if you have seen, the river is, even from the origin, the river flow is very fast, unlike the other rivers. Have you been to Nashik? Okay. From Nashik, when you climb up to Trimbakeshwar, the origin of Godavari. Have you seen that? Anybody? Long time back. Yaad hai kuch? The origin, it is trickling, strictly like अपने टैप का जो पानी चलता है ना, it is that kind of a trickle. By the time it crosses that mountain and goes few furlongs, it gathers enough tributaries that it becomes a big flow. But in the origin, it is trickling flow. Gangaji, when you go to Gomukh, not Gangotri, from Gangotri another 22 kilometers, when you go to Gomukh, it is, the width of that Gangaji there is at least about 6-7 times larger than this. It's huge. So I see that you have been there. It's huge. Okay. And the flow, I mean, I have gone even beyond Gomukh. There is Nandanvan and Tapovan. It's glaciers. And when you climb on the glacier and watch, you feel giddy. Like the water is, it's gushing out. It's not like trickling, it is gushing. So this Bharata, who was standing at the banks of Gangaji giving his arghya while doing his Sandhya Vandana, he saw that the deer, scared with the attack from a tiger, drops its baby directly from the womb into the water and escapes. The mother runs for its life. Now the the baby is trapped in its own, the umbilical cord and other things, and it is sinking in. So, compassionate king, he jumps across, swims, gets that baby, washes it clean, and now the responsibility of the little one falls on his shoulder. So he immediately searches for the source of milk, gets it milk and feeds it milk, and then the tender leaves and tender grass he would collect, gather, feed. So much so that King Bharata, who at the peak of his life had the dispassion to give up everything, fell in attachment to that deer, that baby deer. And coming of age, that baby deer saw other deer and it jumped the fence and ran away with them. In the pangs of separation from the deer, this fellow dies. King Bharata, the renunciate, dies. And it is said the next birth, he was born as a deer. He was born as a deer. And it quickly finished that Jiva finished that lifespan of being a deer. The next life he was born as a human, and he happened to remember his past lives. Right from birth he took a vow. अबे यार ये मैं अटैच हो जाऊंगा तो ऐसे ही चलता रहेगा. One attachment that I had and it spun me into that life. This life moving forward, no attachment to no one. So to the entire world, he would act like jada, inert. That there would be no reaction whatsoever. Until his parents were alive, they took care of him. His brothers got married and their wives said, ये तो बोझ है, like he is a burden on our family, हट्टा कट्टा बड़ा हो गया है, he can fend for himself, kick him out. They kick him out and he happily gets out. One day as he is walking, one day as he is crossing a certain area, a king was being carried in a palanquin. वो जो क्या बोलते हैं उसको हिंदी में, पालकी, right? So you need 4 people, and 4 people have to be of the same height, same weight, same capacity. Otherwise, there will be like a lopsided, and the one who is supposed to be having a pleasant ride, it will be like Narakatulya. And they go in a rhythm. Unfortunately, this one of the carrying person fell sick, almost immobile. They said, "Ab kya kare?" So they found this Jada Bharata crossing the bridge and they called him, put him in that job, and he had no such experience. He has never. So everybody is going in a certain rhythm and this fellow is going in his own rhythm. The king got irritated with that fellow, kicks him, kicks Jadavar, and the Jadavarata who falls, net result the king also falls. So when they reconvene and Jadavarata looks at that king and he says, he gives a very distant smile looking at that whole thing. And the king also looking at him, that he is wearing the Yajnopavita and that as a Kshatriya he should not have been kicking the Brahmana, he regrets, and after his regrets are expressed, then this Jadabharata says, Ha vidhi baliyate. The ways of the world, the ways of this karma chakra is so so strange. That deer who got the satsang of this king renunciate Bharata, because of the satsanga in its next life became this king. But this king who got attached to the deer, the next life he became a deer. समझ रहे? And then he smiles at the whole sequence of it and he says, do you know why you are a king? It is because in your earlier life you had the satsanga of renunciate. Therefore you have now become a king because of that punya. You were a deer in the last life. How do you know? So he narrates the whole story. So he is narrating his own several lives worth. The point that is that king had घुमा फिरा के एक attachment था. And for that, one life. अपना क्या बोलना है? But not necessary that it will be a human birth. Right? In between, there is, I don't know how many desires, where all we will end. If in this life we have been vexed with working, I intensely desire, खाओ, सो, मजा करो. और कुछ नहीं चाहिए. So with that intense paritapa, we create a pattern of expectation, of blueprint that we have created where that Ishvara has to bless this jiva into a pattern of life where there is only eating and sleeping. So of all the varieties that is there, the options that are available, can you check and tell which animal has that kind of a pattern? नहीं यार, वो कभी कभी हिलता डुलता है. Oh, which lives in an apartment. Pig. It's called Ajagara Vritti. A python. Ajagara is python. Ajagara Vritti is like so lazy that it would not hunt. The other snakes at least go hunt. This fellow doesn't hunt. It will go into a place where it sees a traffic, animal traffic, and then जो घुसेगा तब खाऊंगा. If something enters in, then I will catch it and eat it. Once something gets caught, will not leave. So it swallow everything, go on a pole or a tall tree, wrap itself up, breaking the bones of that whatever has been eaten, and then slowly digest it over a period of weeks or months. Or if in this life we are like, I didn't have this or that, I need to get this and get that, and keep aggrandizing. Next life, huh? I am talking about no human. So far as I see, that fellow is in a human form. Have you seen squirrels? It's only after I came to US I had the opportunity to observe them at a close distance. Very funny animals. It will get the resources of all kinds of food, find a hole, fill it up, and cover it. Okay, for all this effort, it forgets. It forgets that it has hidden a stock of food. And the hilariousness is, it finds its own stocked food and then grabs all of it, hides it again in a different place. So being born as a human being itself is one of the rarest of the rare feat that can happen. Having been born, why is it rare? There is another point. In the whole spectrum of jivas that can be born, there are some in lower yonis, lower formats of existence. There are some which are higher than human, devatas and others. Neither the other yonis nor the devata yoni, there is the concept of free will. There is no concept of purushartha in those. They are all, the lower ones basically live by their instincts. The upper ones are ordained by a certain order of scheme of things that they have to obey to. The purushartha is there only in the human birth. To make or to break, that choice is only in human birth. And because of that choice, the highest choice that we can choose is to liberate oneself from all limitations. So if rarest of the rare is a human birth, and in that birth alone you can achieve this, what should be the purpose of that life? Therefore, it is said, Chaturtha Purushartham eva. The fourth Purushartha is the very purpose of life. But when will we be focused on that, not distracted by any of the other Purusharthas, Artha and Kama? Even that our scriptures say, if you bottle yourself up away from it, you will end up frustrated with life. And the human psychology is, the more somebody says don't, if I say, please close your eyes, think of anything else but the pink bandar. What is the first thing that will pop in your head? A pink bandar will jump. And if the human life, we have not experimented and chewed on all these distractions and seen to ourselves that this is not where I will find my happiness, is an ascertained understanding of my own experience, not a borrowed. Once that is ascertained, been there, done that, I have seen it, it cannot provide that. Once that understanding sets in, it will no longer become a distraction. It will no longer become something that will deviate us from that which should be the main focus. The pariksha lokan karmachitan nasti akritaha kritena nirvedamayan. That state of having seen everything and no more distractions is called Vairagya. Vairagya is not closing your eyes, shutting your ears, shutting your mouth, shutting your everything and I am not indulging in it anymore. No, when the pressure increases, कितनी बार हुआ है? I will diet. I will not eat fried, I will not eat, you know the list, whatever. हर एक का एक लिस्ट है. Everybody has their own distractions. किसी को स्वीट है, किसी को कैंडी है, किसी को चॉकलेट है, किसी को आइसक्रीम है, किसी को फ्राइज है. You decided that you wanted to diet. 3 days, 4 days, 5th day, by the 6th day. This is my cheat day. Bucket of it. कभी देखा लोगों को आइसक्रीम बकेट्स पे खाते हैं? and they accomplish eating the whole thing. If there is that distraction, you cannot focus on anything else. The pressure will kick you out of that temporary phase of whatever dispassionate moment of discipline that you have. That will get broken. But for somebody who has seen it, who knows factually as an internal personal experience, I don't need to get distracted. So one can focus on the main priority, which is the fourth Purushartha, which is the Moksha Purushartha, rather than in just the life spent in carnal pleasures. Why is this important? Why is this understanding important? Because even this rarest of the rare, which is this human birth, is the most ephemeral in its nature. Samprapte sannihite kale, right? When we near our end. When that end actually happens, nobody has a clue. Those who exercise also die. Those who don't exercise also die. Those who eat healthy also die. Those who don't eat healthy also die. Right? Death is certain. And when it will happen, nobody is certain about it. That is detailedly taken for the next shloka. It describes that in a very beautiful poetic way. We will see that next week. Om Shant Shant Shanti Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Take care, everyone.